everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is the second part of ADHD, and today we are going to talk about psychiatric medication of ADHD. And look, there is really no easy way to say this. I can't really laugh about this because this is not a fun subject. So this is not a really easy video for me to make, and I was contemplating if I should even do it. The thing is, I will have some things to say that are not, let's say, mainstream. And if I get a little bit carried away, please don't judge me too harshly, because I lost 7 years of my life on a quest to find how I am disordered, to find out that I wasn't disordered at all. And I was lied to, but not by a person. There is no one to blame. It is just the process. The process that you know, let's get into the video with a disclaimer. I was on medication. And if you are on medication, or if you're just going this therapy, that therapy, you are finding information about your condition, you are all confused about this stuff, you have already been diagnosed with this, that thing, it seems to be multiplying, you can't stop it, you have to be so flawed, oh my god, it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. And really, it is not the fault of the doctors either, because they are just doing their job. They have been given a set of rules that they need to follow to do this job. And based on that set of rules, they do their job. It's not their fault either. So whose fault it is? It's not even the fault of the big pharma managers, because they are also just people doing their job. It is the fault of people just doing their job. That is the evil. The evil is not in any one particular person. It is in the concept. It is in the concept of I am just doing my job. I am a manager. I am trying to raise the profit of our company. I am the doctor. I am just following the rules of my trade. I am the patient. I am just following the rules that the doctor gave me. We are all following some rules. One person is following the rule of another, and that person is following a rule of another, and that person is following the rule of another. And the secret of this all is that there is no conspiracy, because there is no one at the end. There is no one in control. It's just an endless loop. So there is no intelligence in the entire loop. No intelligence at all. It's not evil intelligence or good intelligence. There is just simply no intelligence. And that's maybe even worse. And so with that said, I spoiled the punchline of this video. I'm sorry. Let's look into it. Let's look into what I actually found out through my experience, and we can circle back to this at the end. So some of you that have been watching this channel previously know I have been diagnosed with ADHD. I was almost diagnosed with depression, and I was almost diagnosed with bipolar, and I was almost diagnosed with a bunch of other things. I really went into the psychiatric office with the clear intention to only be diagnosed with ADHD, because that was what I believed I have. But it was suggested to me if I don't have BPD. Now, fortunately for me, I know my way around words, and I can put forth a strong logical argument. So I was able to make my case about why I don't have bipolar, and why I am not depressed, and why this is all only ADHD. But it was pretty close. I was almost prescribed antidepressants, mood stabilizers, and there was a range of other options for me to take. It was like in a candy store. And I live in Europe, and we have very serious laws about this kind of thing. Now you can probably see that this is not optimal when we are dealing with extremely hazardous chemicals that are introduced in the body. With Strattera, there is literally a slight warning, in small letters, that it might cause suicidal ideation and suicide, and that it may cause extreme depression. It's just possible side effects. It's on your own risk. You're not really going to be told this if you don't read it, but it's just a drug. It can do these things. Basically, the side effects include worsening of your current symptoms, and adding 30 others. Well, in my case, it didn't work for the ADHD. And there was some moments when I thought that it might be working. Fortunately for me, I am a real skeptic that really asks questions. And I was really, really, really excited to have a pill that will make me normal. But the skeptic in me was saying, "Hey Pete, are you really sure that this drug is doing anything at all? Like, you have been more happy than this when you were not taking it. So, like, is the difference really coming from the drug? Where is your proof of that?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, but the doctors say that it should work, so it probably should work." That was the only reason why I even found that this is doing anything, because I was feeling better without it a year ago. Hmm. So then there was the placebo. In my first videos, literally my first videos on YouTube, I made daily vlogs about the progression. And I had serious side effects, all of this range, like 5 different side effects. And at the same time, I started to feel like, oh, something has changed. Something has really changed. Yes, something has really changed. I had all these side effects. And there is something called the nocebo effect, which is exactly the same as a placebo effect, but with something negative. So that would mean that, for example, if someone sticks you with a needle and tells you this was medicine, it hurts, and because it hurts, it means that it's working. So it's the same as placebo, just a different trigger. Because after a while, I did get the serious depression. I did get that extreme depression. I was never depressed like that when I was taking Strattera in my life. So when it really finally reached its full potential, which was just a lower version of how I am normally when I'm fully happy, it was ended by a period of a depression that I've never had this before. I've never had such a strong depression before. So I stopped taking Strattera and went into Ritalin. And so with Ritalin, it worked much better. There were almost no side effects. I could focus better. Well, focus. I can focus very well on anything I want, but I was finding that I can want to focus on things that I normally don't want to focus on, because everything seemed more fun. Even the things that are actually boring seemed more fun when I was on Ritalin. Well, there are some other substances, for example, alcohol or cocaine, that have the similar effects, I wonder. And of course, Ritalin is from the same family of psychoactive substances like cocaine. It is a central nervous system stimulant. So if you take it, you feel better. And my argument on this very channel was that with ADHD people that can't motivate themselves to do anything normal, Ritalin really helps and it is a lifesaver. And that is true if you want to do things that are normal. And if you don't want to do things that are normal and you want to force yourself to do things that you don't want to do, Ritalin can be a lifesaver. Now, is this something that you really want to do, however? That is the real question. So, with this, I was taking Ritalin and then I realized, oh wait, this is the question. Why am I doing all these things? What if I started to do the things that I really feel passion for? What if I stop telling myself I don't feel the passion for anything and actually start exploring my passions? And suddenly they came back. Suddenly they came back. I was feeling for years that I don't have any passions anymore. But in the moment where I stopped believing this, they came back like magic. So I said, well, clearly I don't need Ritalin anymore. So that's done. And you see, the thing with Ritalin is that it really at least didn't have any terrible side effects and it didn't threaten me with suicide ideation. So it was quite good. And so this is my experience with ADHD. But what is your experience? What is your experience with depression or BPD? I definitely will be making videos on these topics as well, because I have thought about them very, very deeply, because I know someone who could be diagnosed BPD, But the same person could also be diagnosed with depression. That same person could also be diagnosed with ADHD. That same person could also be diagnosed with bipolar and narcissism. Like, depending on what day it is, I could diagnose that person with anything because they display enough traits from the DSM-5 to be diagnosed with anything. And if you look at it, if you try to look at all of the DSM-5, you will find out that you have several disorders. Just do it, just try it. It's like with horoscopes. If you read all of them, it suddenly stops to feel like it describes you so perfectly because you find yourself in 8 of 12. The same can be said about psychological and psychiatric disorders. Try it. Really, if you have ADHD, try it. And there are people, and I have worked with people in my coaching, that have done it, and they decided that, oh, shoot, I have 9 disorders. Seriously. You have 9 disorders. Isn't it more like that the net is maybe cast a little bit too narrow? The eyes of the net are a little bit too narrow? That it catches literally everything? And there is no problem with understanding the psyche to this deep level, so that we can finally understand that all kinds of deviations, all kinds of criminal activity, this is all caused by some kind of, wrong mental setting. That is true. But do we really want to treat it haphazardly? As people come to the office for 20 minutes sessions because in 20 minutes another client is coming, so let's hurry this along. This is a fast world we are living in, right? The person doesn't know you. The difference between us and the lab rat is that we are unfortunately not stuck in a box with no other factors influencing us. We have quite a lot of factors influencing us. In fact, the phone that I'm recording this on is a gateway to literally billions of books worth of data that I have in my pocket. Now, I would call that and everything else in the human world a bit of a distraction, a bit of an external factor. So all these experiments that are done in 20-minute sessions in the psychiatrist's office, what are they really? What is the chance that they are going to find out something real? It is all only based on our reactions to the medication. And the problem is that our reactions to medications are notoriously known to be extremely influenced by psychology and external influences. Because of the placebo effect, because of the nocebo effect, because of our lifestyle, because of what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe, it all affects it. There is no way that it can actually produce some useful result, scientifically speaking, other than by chance. So as expected, I did get a little bit carried away. One like for every carried away moment? No? Okay. But if you liked, please like. But before I get into the closing comments, if you are dealing with a mental disorder, consider what kind of intelligence you are following. Consider if you know what intelligence you are following. Because if you ask your doctor, he will tell you that he is following the instructions that he was given. He's following the best practices as described here. And the people that make the best practices are basing them on the data they got from following the best practices. And it is all pushed in our system of economy where when something makes money, the managers are happy. And the managers don't really check on why very much because that's not their job. And it's not the job of the doctor to question the DSM. And it's not the job of whoever writes the DSM to question the analysis of all the doctors. So really, at the end of the chain, there is a vacancy. Don't be angry at anyone. It's not a conspiracy as far as I can tell. It's just It's just no good, you know. There are many people, even in the psychiatric field, that see this, and there are many that do not. And maybe try the experiment with diagnosing yourself with all kinds of illnesses that you can, because you might find that you have a lot. So much for medication. I don't take any of that anymore, and I was not depressed since. And for the first time of my life, I don't feel like I will be depressed again. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Pete, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.